Life is full of choices. Every single day we decide what is important. We decide where to put our energy and our time. Sometimes we face very big problems like how to be a good friend or how to forgive someone who hurt us. These are heavy questions like big stones we carry. But we also face very small problems like what to wear or what to eat for lunch. These are like tiny pebbles, easy to hold. It is easy to spend all our time looking at the small pebbles in our hands. They feel simple. They feel easy to control. But when we only look down at the pebbles, we can miss the big, beautiful world around us. We can forget about the important journey we are on. Imagine you are packing a bag for a long trip. You have limited space. You must choose carefully what you will bring. Would you fill your bag with tiny, useless trinkets? Would you pack it with small, shiny rocks that do nothing? Or would you pack the important things first? You would pack water, food, a map, and a warm coat. These are the things that will help you reach your destination safely. Our hearts are like that bag. We must be careful what we fill them with. We can fill our hearts with small worries and tiny rules. Or we can choose to fill them with big things like love, kindness, and hope. The choice is ours to make every morning when we wake up. Sometimes our focus gets stuck on the small things. We worry about saying the perfect words. We get anxious about being 5 minutes late. We spend hours thinking about a small mistake we made yesterday. These worries are like little gnats buzzing around our heads. They are annoying, and they take our attention away from what truly matters. We can spend so much energy swatting at these gnats that we don't see the giant camel standing right in front of us. The camel is the real challenge. It is the big opportunity to show love, to offer help, or to stand up for what is right. It is the important part of our journey. Let's think about our days. How much time do we give to the little annoyances? How much energy do we waste on things that will not matter tomorrow? It is a common trap for all of us. We think that if we can control all the tiny details, our lives will be perfect. But life is not about being perfect in small ways. It is about being faithful in big ways. It is about learning to see the difference between the pebbles and the mountains. It is about having the wisdom to let go of the small worries so we can embrace the big, wonderful purposes God has for us. Let's learn to look up from the pebbles and see the path ahead. Jesus once spoke to some religious leaders who were experts at focusing on small things. These men were very serious about their rules. They followed every little detail of their laws. For example, they were very careful to give a tenth of everything they had, even the tiny spices from their gardens, like mint and dill. They measured everything perfectly. They thought that by doing these small things exactly right, they were pleasing God. They were proud of how well they followed the small rules. They believed this made them very good people, better than everyone else. They focused so much on these details that they felt they had everything figured out. But Jesus saw something different. He saw that their hearts were not in the right place. While they were busy measuring their spices, they were forgetting the most important parts of God's law. They were neglecting the big things. What were these big things? Jesus told them clearly: justice, mercy, and faithfulness. They were so focused on the tiny rules that they failed to be fair to people. They were so worried about their own perfection that they forgot to be kind and merciful to those who were struggling. They were so proud of their knowledge of the law that they missed the whole point of having a faithful heart toward God and others. This is when Jesus used a very powerful and funny picture. He said to them, "You blind guides, you strain out a gnat but swallow a camel." Imagine that. A gnat is a tiny insect, so small you can barely see it. To make sure their water was perfectly clean, these leaders would pour it through a cloth to catch any little bugs. They would never, ever want to swallow a gnat. But at the same time, Jesus said they were swallowing a whole camel. A camel is the biggest animal in their land. It was a silly image, but it made his point perfectly clear. They were working so hard to avoid a tiny problem, but were completely ignoring a giant one. Their priorities were all wrong. They were straining their vision to see the tiny gnat, the small rule, the little detail, but they were blind to the enormous camel of injustice and unkindness right in their path. They were so busy being clean on the outside that they were messy on the inside. Jesus was teaching them, and us, a lesson that is still so important today. God cares more about the condition of our hearts than the perfection of our habits. He wants us to be people who love others deeply, who show mercy freely, and who are faithful in the big commitments of life. He is not impressed by a clean cup that is full of greed. Let's think about this in a different way. Imagine a football coach who is getting his team ready for a big championship game. He has to decide what is most important for the team to practice. A bad coach might spend all his time on the small things. He might spend the entire week making sure the players' uniforms are perfectly clean and their shoelaces are tied in a special kind of knot. He might drill them for hours on how to stand perfectly still during the national anthem. These things are not bad, but they are not the things that will win the game. The team might look perfect, but they will not know how to play. A great coach, however, knows what really matters. He knows that to win the game, his team needs to focus on the fundamentals. He will spend time practicing how to throw the ball accurately, how to catch it reliably, and how to work together as a team to protect their quarterback. He will teach them about sportsmanship and working hard. He will focus on the big strategy, the camel issues of football. He knows that if the team can do the big things well, the small things like having clean uniforms will take care of themselves. His goal is not just to look like a team but to play like one. This coach understands the difference between a gnat and a camel. The perfect shoelace knot is a gnat. The game-winning touchdown pass is a camel. Obsessing over the gnat might make you feel like you are in control, but it will not help you win. Embracing the camel, even though it is harder and takes more work, is the only path to victory. The players trust the coach because he keeps their eyes on the prize. He does not let them get distracted by things that will not help them succeed. He reminds them every day of the main goal, to play their best and win the game. Our lives are a lot like that football game. We can choose to be the coach who worries only about the uniforms, focusing on appearing good to others, or we can be the coach who builds a strong team from the inside out. Jesus invites us to be the second kind of coach for our own lives. He wants us to focus on the big plays, loving our neighbors, showing mercy to those who need it, and living with a deep and steady faith in God. These are the fundamentals. These are the things that lead to a life that is truly victorious, a life that has meaning and purpose. Don't waste your practice time on the gnats. So, how can we start focusing on the camels instead of the gnats in our own lives? The first step is to simply pause and look at what we are worried about. We need to ask ourselves, will this matter in a year? Will this matter in a week, or even tomorrow? Often, the things that cause us the most stress are gnats. A critical comment from a coworker, a messy kitchen, or being stuck in traffic, these are all gnats. Recognizing them for what they are is powerful. It allows us to take a deep breath and let them go. We can choose not to give them our precious energy and attention. This is not always easy, but it is a habit we can build over time. The big things, the camels, are justice, mercy, and faith. Let's make these practical. Justice means treating people fairly. It means standing up for someone who is being treated poorly. It means being honest in our work and in our words. You can practice justice today by listening carefully to someone else's side of the story before you judge. You can celebrate the success of a teammate instead of feeling jealous. You can pay for a service honestly and thank the person who provided it. Justice is not a big scary idea, it is a series of small fair choices we make every day. It is about honoring the value of every person we meet. Mercy is showing kindness to people, especially when they do not deserve it. It is forgiveness. It is giving someone a second chance. We can practice mercy by letting go of a grudge we have been holding against a friend or family member. We can offer a gentle word to someone who is having a bad day, instead of a sharp one. When someone makes a mistake that affects us, we can choose to respond with grace instead of anger. Mercy is the heart of God, and when we show mercy, we are sharing that heart with the world. It is a camel-sized gift that can change a relationship, and it costs us nothing but our pride. Finally, there is faith. Faith is not just believing in God, it is trusting Him. It is trusting that His way is better than our way. We can practice faith by praying about our big worries instead of just trying to control everything ourselves. We can trust that even when things are hard, God is with us and can bring good from it. We can start our day by thanking Him for His love and asking for His help to see the camels instead of the gnats. By focusing on these three big things, justice, mercy, and faith, our lives will become richer and more meaningful. We will stop swallowing camels and start living a life that truly honors God.